Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Laying Down the Law. I'm your host, Billy DeClerc, and I'm here with my son, Spencer DeClerc. And in the theme of multi-generational entertainment, today's episode is dedicated to my father.
Happy birthday, Pop.
Happy birthday, Dad. This episode's for you.
Okay, I think that's good.
Yeah, I think so too.
We're actually starting right now.
We live in a world where nothing is what it seems.
Seriously? Are you going to do that bit again? Are you going to keep doing the same ridiculous movie trailer bit?
Well, I mean, this is how I do my intro. It's like the Pablo Francisco bit or the joke from the movie Comedian with Jerry Seinfeld. We live in a world.
Okay, wait. Let me stop you right there, big guy. One sec. Okay, so I'm going to break down your thought process. First of all, it wasn't funny the first time. So you were like, you want to know my big fucking idea? You know what it is? I'm going to do it again. Because everyone knows if you do something you don't like and then you do it again, oh my God, people will go crazy. They'll go crazy. And second of all, it's your unfunny bit isn't even your own. You stole it from Jerry Seinfeld. Did you not expect to get held accountable for this? I'm so confused. Is the joke that Jerry Seinfeld's unfunny? Are you shitting on another comedian? Because you wrote the script saying that it's unfunny. I have the script right here. So either you acknowledge that you're stealing an unfunny bit from someone else to either ridicule them or to ridicule yourself, which I don't understand the basis to that. So you want to level with me here, guy?
I just want to point out something really important.
What?
You said another comedian, which implies that you think that I am a comedian, which I really appreciate. Actually.
Oh my God, I'm leaving.
You don't need to.
I'm done.
What are you?
I'm done.
Come on,
I'm done.
Spencer, dude. Oh, we're doing it.
Wait, no. I thought we finished. Is this getting cut out? I don't know what's staying and what's getting cut out anymore.
Nothing happens until we say the name of the show. You understand? There's like 4 more lines in the script.
Oh shit.
Okay, you got to turn the page.
I thought it ended with me walking out.
Oh no, you made that up. That wasn't even in the script. All right, just beyond unreasonable doubt. Just read that part. In the movie trailer.
Beyond unreasonable doubt. And Verboten Productions present.
Okay, wait. Just you got to make it like a little more low and growly. Just like bite every single.
Laying Down the Law with Billy DeClerc, your host. That's me.
I thought you'd enjoy breaking the fourth wall and doing this whole movie trailer thing. Voice.
Dead.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make that joke. The fourth wall has been so thoroughly destroyed throughout this entire bit. I don't think there's anywhere we can go with this other than more meta. This podcast is tethered to no reality at this moment.
That's true.
All right. God. No, all of this content's gonna be on the internet. Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah. I apologize to your children.
Oh, I'm not showing them this.
Okay.
You're like, oh, the little DeClercs, your pops did my podcast when I was less old and he was less old. Now I'm 170.
Okay. All right. Welcome to Laying Down the Law and so-called comedy podcast where we read real legal cases and then create improv comedy. Then we get real, dig deep, pick your cliche, whatever it is, and we get to know our guest. Before we begin today's episode, I'd like to introduce my guest. He's currently a high school student here in Los Angeles who runs cross country.
At Loyola.
Oh, I wasn't going to say the name of it. Okay.
Oh, no.
It's okay?
Yeah, I doxed myself. It's cool.
Oh, okay. All right.
No such thing as privacy.
Okay. Yeah, he runs cross country. He's a gamer. He's an avid collector of all things Lego related. He's a lover of animals and nature, a passionate social justice activist who constantly challenges me to think deeply about things. He's my best friend and the love of my life. I want to welcome to the podcast after many, many requests, the very talented Mr. Spencer DeClerc.
Hi. I kind of feel bad for all over your bit right there. It was a nice intro.
Well, I love you.
It's
you know
really
that
kind.
guy. It's okay. Before we do our what? Before we do our case, huh?
I coughed.
Oh, okay. Did I get you choked up there a little bit?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything. I don't know
Okay,
why.
that's all right.
Yeah, that's
That's welcome to my life. All right, today's case of the week is at your request. Since you are interested, it's a case about video games, and since I'm old, it involves a very old video game and an area of the law I know pretty well called defamation. So this case is
this morning I defamated in your bed. Oh my god, I am so funny.
Oh my god, you are
God.
hilarious.
Poor you. You could have gotten me on an imposter syndrome day, but no, you got me on God disorder day.
Well, that's why I picked Friday afternoon.
Oh yeah, baby.
You're like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
out of school. I've had
What's
half a
it
Coke
called?
Zero.
God complex day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a God complex right now.
Yeah. Okay, so this case is Mitchell versus Twin Galaxies LLC, and this is a case from Los Angeles Superior Court, Department 36, Judge Alarcon, and you brought this up the other day, and I thought, oh well, we'll use this for the podcast. So, defendant's special motion to strike or anti-slap motion is denied, and defendant's motion for an undertaking is granted. Plaintiff is required to post a bond in the amount of $81,225 within 30 days of this order. Background. This case arises out of allegedly defamatory statements made by Twin Galaxies LLC, which operates the website twingalaxies.com that publishes score records on leaderboards for video games and provides forum for discussion on video games. Twin Galaxies leaderboards, records, and rankings have been historically recognized as official records of achievement in video games and have been used by Guinness World Records. Plaintiff William James, aka Billy Mitchell, is a well-known figure in the video game community for his records in several video games, including Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, and others. Plaintiff first became prominent in the 1980s when he was included in a photo spread of game champions in Life magazine. In 1999, Plaintiff achieved the first perfect score in the original Pac-Man. In the 2000s, Plaintiff set record scores of 1,047,200 on Donkey Kong, the King of Kong tape, and 1,050,200 on Mortgage Brokers.
I just got why the episode is called A Fistful of Quarters. Because it's like a fistful of dollars, but you use quarters to play Donkey Kong. I knew it was a reference to the Sergio Leone movie, but I didn't get the quarters part until like right now.
Yeah, well, actually, it's from this. I stole it from the judge.
Oh my god.
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry, I
the
didn't
judge
know.
stole it from something else. So Plaintiff has appeared in several documentaries on competitive gaming, including The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters, 2007.
Wow, I chose the best time ever to interrupt, I think.
That was perfect. Exactly perfect. And you knew the Sergio Leone reference, which I couldn't have done because I didn't, I knew it was Fistful of something or other.
Fistful of dollars. I've never watched those movies. Are they any good?
Some of them are, I don't know. So I think they're reputed to be good.
Are those like the Clint Eastwood ones, or
Some of them, they're called the spaghetti westerns because they're
no,
made
no?
in
But
Italy.
isn't there a trilogy? There's like Fistful of Dollars.
I think The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is one of them.
Yeah. What's the third?
The films are titled Fistful of Dollars, 1964,
Mhm.
For a Few Dollars More,
Ah, yeah.
and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. A Few Dollars More is the frequently forgotten second movie in the trilogy.
Second movie in the trilogy is always where they introduce the love triangle that doesn't really work out. So, I think the second movie in the trilogy is always the weakest.
Like Empire Strikes Back.
And that's an exception.
Oh, that's an exception. Oh, like okay, like the Two Towers.
There are only two.
No, the Two
Ones
Towers
that
is
blew
from
up on 9/11.
that's from Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
Lord of the Rings. See, it's so forgettable. You forgot that it was the second movie.
well, yeah. Also, the Lord of the Rings movies have had a very minimal impact on my life. I gotta
Why
be
is that?
honest. I haven't watched them.
Okay. What's another second movie in a trilogy that has had a big impact? Shrek 2?
No, Shrek 2 is so good.
Okay.
And Shrek isn't a trilogy, it's 4 movies.
Oh,
Come on, you're not researched.
I didn't do my.
Okay, come on. It was on the prep sheet. I was like,
Shrek was on the prep sheet.
research the Shrek movies.
Okay. All right. Actually, so the plaintiff is also the owner of Ricky's Hot Sauce. I don't know why that's here, but that's what the judge thought was important.
Wait. We're cutting away from the whole Shrek thing.
Oh no, I was just going back to I mean, this is a law and comedy podcast. We've got a lot of comedy, so I was trying to bring the law, but
Oh, let's skip that. It's a comedy podcast. No.
oh, okay.
You're 100% law. I'm 100% comedy. It's my episode. It's 100% comedy.
Okay.
No, okay. You don't have to read the case. I'll tell you what happened.
Okay, tell me what happened.
So, Twin Galaxies sued. No, Billy Mitchell sued Twin Galaxies because they alleged that his high scores were on changed version of Donkey Kong. Everyone was like, "What? That's ridiculous." Billy Mitchell is like this regarded guy. You know, he's so good. He sued them for defamation, and then they were like, "You can't do that." I don't know really what an anti-slap is. It's your domain. And then there's like a new lawsuit now where they're claiming, I don't know, they're suing him for fraud essentially because they're saying the faked high scores, the new owner of Twin Galaxies is suing him because they're saying the faked high scores drove the price of the company up, and so he owes them like $300 million for the damages. It's like upwards of $6 million in the lawsuit. He and his business partner are getting sued.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If you want to do your whole thing with reading it,
No,
you
no,
know,
that's okay. I'm gonna skip.
maintain some
I'm gonna
semblance
skip all
of
the
control
statement of facts.
in a changing world that doesn't care about men like you.
Well, that's true. Why don't I talk about the anti-slap part?
Yeah, for sure. That's
Okay,
part
so
I
an
don't know.
anti-slap motion, this is based on the Code of Civil Procedure, Section 425. First, the court must decide whether the moving party has met the threshold burden of showing the plaintiff's cause of action arises from the moving party's constitutional right of free speech. So basically, if it's a lawsuit relating to speech, constitutional right of free speech, the court has to decide if the moving party shows that the plaintiff's cause of action arises from the constitutional right of free speech. And then if it does, then the plaintiff has to show a probability of prevailing on the claim by presenting facts which, if proved at trial, would support a judgment in the plaintiff's favor. And so the court considers the pleadings and they consider the evidence to determine whether there's actually, it's a minimal merit threshold. In this case, the defendant claimed that the causes of action arise from Twin Galaxies' protected activities because it's a written or oral statement or writing made in a place open to the public in connection with the interest of public interest. And they say that the statements are made in a public forum. The court agreed and basically says that the website is a public forum, meaning that the statements on the forum are part of the free speech. Prong 2, the probability of prevailing on the merits. So now the plaintiff has to show a probability of prevailing on the claim by presenting facts which, if they were proven, would support a judgment in plaintiff's favor. So it has to be based on admissible evidence, and the judge doesn't weigh the facts as to whether they're probative or not, just whether there's any evidence. So defamation was the cause of action, right? So defamation is injury to reputation. A threshold issue is whether the plaintiff is a public figure. Here, the plaintiff assumes that he's a limited purpose public figure with respect to video game playing, which is the subject of the controversy. Because the plaintiff's public and longstanding career in video game industry alleged in the complaint and in plaintiff's declaration, the court accepts this acknowledgement. So the plaintiff is subject to an additional requirement to recover for defamation unless he proves by clear and convincing evidence that the libelous statement was with actual malice, that is, with the knowledge that it was false or with reckless disregard as to whether it was false or not. So the defendant asserts that plaintiff cannot establish falsehood in the statement that was made by the defendant, and the statement was that he'd modified the console to achieve the Donkey Kong record, basically.
Yeah, or that they like switched the motherboards of two, like arcade cabinets or whatever, something like that.
Plaintiff says his scores were made on certified arcade boards in front of hundreds of people, and there was an investigation preceding it.
Wait, preceding it or proceeding it?
What's that?
Preceding it or proceeding it? Before or after?
What did I say? Oh, preceding.
Okay,
Yeah.
Well,
So-
I wasn't sure which one you said, so
Yeah.
that's good.
Okay, so here's what Twin Galaxies had said. I'm going back. Billy Mitchell's taped Donkey Kong score performance of 1,047,200, the King of Kong tape, 1,050,200, the Mortgage Broker's score, that were historically used by Twin Galaxy to substantiate these scores and place them in the database, were not produced by the direct feed output of an original unmodified Donkey Kong arcade PCB. You know what's a PCB?
No.
Okay. From a Twin Galaxies standpoint, the only important thing to know is whether or not the score performances are from an unmodified original Donkey Kong Arcade PCB as per the competitive rules. We now believe they are not from an original unmodified Donkey Kong Arcade PCB, and so our investigation of the tape content ends with this conclusion and assertion. With this ruling, Twin Galaxies can no longer recognize Billy Mitchell as the first million-point Donkey Kong record holder. That's the allegedly defamatory statement. And so Billy Mitchell has to prove that was made with actual malice, with knowledge that it was false, or reckless disregard of whether it was false or not.
So he's going to go for reckless disregard, right?
Yeah, because it's easier to prove reckless disregard as to actual knowledge. Like, you don't care if it's true or false. That's reckless disregard for the truth.
Yeah, but that's hard for them to prove because they have, there's money concerned as to whether or not it's true.
Yeah, and they're saying in the statement themselves that they had made, they had conducted an investigation. So defendant asserts that plaintiff cannot establish falsehood because the statement's one of opinion. They say it's a conclusion, so they made a specific finding, and they considered a definitive determination. So a reasonable fact finder could conclude that this statement declares or implies a provably false assertion of fact. In particular, that plaintiff's King of Kong tape, and the mortgage broker's score were not produced by direct feed output of an original unmodified Donkey Kong Arcade PCB. A reasonable fact finder jury could find that it's implied that actions were taken to make such circumstances occur. There's support as well that appears to imply that Twin Galaxies only makes definitive determinations based on sufficient direct evidence. This statement is made with qualifying language, does not, under the circumstances, since Twin Galaxies hold itself out as an arbiter of sorts of the fact, necessarily makes a statement one where a reasonable fact finder would not understand it as fact. In other words, it's a fact or an opinion statement because of the way they said it. They're saying it as though they find it fact. Okay? So, as to falsity, the plaintiff has the burden to prove not only the falsity of the challenge statement, but also that the defendant acted with actual malice. And that has to be established by a preponderance of the evidence. To support his burden to prove falsity, plaintiff attests that the King of Kong tape was made on an original unmodified PCB. Plaintiff cites to evidence for the mortgage broker's score. There was an on-site referee adjudication, and the hardware was verified by the senior engineer at Nintendo. Walter Day, who's the founder and former owner of Twin Galaxies, attests to the on-site referee adjudication, and plaintiff has submitted declarations by referees Todd Rogers and Kimberly Mahoney. These referees attest to the integrity of the arcade machine, that the machine was an original Donkey Kong arcade machine with original unmodified hardware. Next, the plaintiff attests to having complied with Mr. Day's requirement to verify the hardware with the senior engineer at Nintendo, Wayne Shirk, and attests that he never accessed the hardware before or after the performance. Plaintiff also provides evidence in support of the Donkey Kong tape, showing that the score could be achieved. This evidence, however, supports that the scores were achievable, rather than going to the integrity of the hardware itself. Last, plaintiff provides testimony that the possibility of plaintiff using MAME emulation for the scores is unlikely or impossible because the specific version of MAME alleged was not created until after the King of Kong tape. Defendant asserts it can prove the truth of the statements, and they offer evidence that the scores could not have been made in an original unmodified PCB in the declarations of Jason Hall and Carlos Pinheiro. Mr. Hall attests that the Twin Galaxies tested the scores by attempting to reproduce certain artifacts on the girders drawn up in the game, including a girder finger that appeared in the King of Kong tape and the mortgage broker's score, and was not able to capture the same artifacts in its testing. Pinheiro attests that the person who started the dispute claim also demonstrated that the girder finger, artifact on the girder, is the girder, those are like the ladders or something?
I don't know.
Do you know? Okay.
I don't know what's going on right now.
Okay, so they're talking about in the
with the girders.
The girders. I think those are the like the ladders in Donkey Kong.
Yeah. So is it like saying that's where they observe the cheating?
It's that there are little artifacts in the girders drawn in the game. So maybe there's like the
I don't know,
horizontal things at Donkey Kong you run up.
Yeah. Anyway, I think.
But there's these artifacts, and he couldn't reproduce them.
Yeah.
So there's a
So-
dispute. And so in this case, on the initial motion, the court does not find that plaintiff's claim of falsity has been defeated as a matter of law. So the question is whether there was actual malice. Because he's a public figure, the plaintiff has to show that the defendant acted with actual malice and prove it by clear and convincing evidence, which is like a higher burden than the preponderance of evidence, requiring the plaintiff to demonstrate by a finding of high probability that Twin Galaxies either knew the statement was false or subjectively entertained serious doubt the statement was truthful. So plaintiff offers the evidence that Mr. Hall told Mr. Day that he didn't care about the referees who could verify the hardware, that Twin Galaxies never contacted the referees, Twin Galaxy disregarded verification of the hardware, Twin Galaxies used biased investigators, that Twin Galaxies, in fact, used other sources outside of its rule. And so they claim that that shows actual malice because there was no need to rush to publish a statement. Plaintiff's evidence supports on a phone call to Mr. Hall on February 24, 2018, plaintiff asked Mr. Hall to interview Twin Galaxy personnel and eyewitnesses, and he stated, "I don't care what anybody says." The evidence supports that Mr. Hall made a website post stating that because the dispute concerned whether the performances were made by MAME recordings and not original arcade gameplay, quote, "It does not matter one bit what someone knew or didn't know. TG does not care about certified boards or any other non-relevant item to the dispute claim. What matters is the actual content on the tapes as it stands. Either the performances on the tapes were produced by the original Donkey Kong hardware or they were not." Plaintiff attests that Mr. Hall, in phone conversations in April 2018, again refused to interview plaintiff's proposed witnesses and documentation stating it doesn't matter and that he didn't care. Plaintiff also has evidence that Mr. Hall called Mr. Day on March 13, 2018, about a month before the statement, during which Mr. Hall asked, "How will you feel when I announce that Billy cheated?" Plaintiff alleges this shows Twin Galaxies' decision had already been made prior to completion of Twin Galaxies' investigation and prior to a Facebook broadcast reviewing videotapes of plaintiff's scores. Plaintiff provides evidence that Twin Galaxies did not contact referees of the mortgage broker score who attest to the hardware's integrity. So that's basically all of the evidence that the plaintiff had, that basically they didn't care, they had already decided, it was a foregone conclusion,
Right.
and that showed that there was actual malice.
Yeah.
Okay. So defendant asserts it defeats the claim of actual malice as a matter of law. It relies on its investigation process and the rules of its dispute claim process. Okay. And you go into the dispute claim process. Basically, the court found that the plaintiff had satisfied the burden. He goes through a long thing about the rules and how the rules applied and stuff, and basically said the plaintiff met the burden on the anti-SLAPP motion of a prima facie case. That's like the initial, do you have a basic case?
Yeah.
Supporting actual malice sufficient to overcome the burden of minimal merit.
Right.
Okay. So there's more to it, but basically the point is that the court said there's no anti-SLAPP here because the plaintiff has shown enough evidence that there was actual malice on the part of the
Twin Galaxies.
Twin Galaxies, because they basically didn't care. And
Right.
so it's like reckless disregard for the truth.
But that's part one of multiple lawsuits, right?
Yeah. So procedurally what's going on here is that Billy Mitchell files a lawsuit for defamation.
Yeah.
He says, you defamed me. You said I didn't achieve the scores when I actually did.
Right.
They say, we're filing some motion saying it's our right of free speech to say whatever we want. And there's a real consequence to this because an anti-SLAPP motion, as you know, because you saw that John Oliver thing, right?
Yeah.
That the defendant can actually get their attorney's fees if they win.
Right.
So the plaintiff just has to show that there's an actual chance that they can win. And so they have to put all this evidence in basically to establish that he could win the case. And the judge here said, yeah, he could potentially win the case. And so it does go on. There's this part about a motion for an undertaking, which is like a whole other technical thing I won't even get into, which basically it's like the plaintiff has to pay money to the court in case he loses. That's like a whole other part of this decision, but it's super complicated. But basically, it means that the plaintiff can go forward with his case. It doesn't get thrown out because an anti-slap, if it gets slapped, the case gets completely thrown out.
Yes. Exactly.
All right. Did I bore you completely? Did you fall asleep?
It was very legal. This is a law
This
is a law podcast.
Well, no law
after
and
all.
comedy. We're like 50-50. It's supposed to be 50-50.
You're the law and the comedy.
I'm the I know. You got to come on every episode because I go into like all this detail and stuff. And often what happens is my guests will interrupt me, but I guess you're being respectful.
Oh, okay. I
Or
was
were you
supposed to
asleep?
interrupt you.
Or were you asleep?
No, I didn't know what I was supposed to do because
I
you're
didn't
like
really-
trying to redirect to the law. So I was like,
I
should I
didn't-
leave him be or what?
No, yeah, you could have totally interrupted. But
Okay, yeah.
was anything like jumped out at you?
But the weird thing is, like, I was doing research on this. Apparently, like, a lot of people in the Donkey Kong community think like Billy Mitchell didn't even get the first 1 million. Some other guy got it, and then Twin Galaxies, when it was owned by Walter Day and Billy Mitchell, like purposely hid that dude's score so that like Billy Mitchell would be the first, you know. And then there's just like a crazy just lore behind like the levels of deception of like Billy Mitchell, where in the newest lawsuit, it says like something about Billy Mitchell like congratulating his friends on like he like associated himself with like felons and like pedophiles.
What?
Yeah, it's like there's like levels of insanity to this story.
What? Whoa, tell me
And
more.
then another part is like Twin Galaxies made it seem like Billy Mitchell was presented the award for like greatest video game player of the 20th century by I think the creator of Pac-Man. In reality, they flew to Japan, asked for a photo op at Sega with the creator of Pac-Man, I think. And the award wasn't from the guy who created Pac-Man. It was from Walter Day to Billy Mitchell that he was the best video game player of the century. And so there's this photo op in the
Did you like print it up using like Microsoft Word and like
Yeah, or something like that to that
participation
effect.
ribbon?
Yeah. And then they made it seem like he got it from the creator of Pac-Man when in reality it was just like, you want an award? Billy, I got an award for you. So it's just like these decades of fraud and lying. And
Wow.
it's crazy how crazy people are about video games.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a
People.
generational thing because like I'm old enough to remember like when there's no such thing as consoles, and if you were going to play a video game you had to go to like the pizzeria and like basically I kept hitting up Pop for quarters.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of enjoyed it because they could like basically get pretty cheap babysitting. They could walk in with a roll of quarters and be like, yeah, go play video games. But I was never good, so I went through the quarters pretty fast.
Yeah, no. And that's remained true to this day.
Still not good at video games.
You talk about cheap babysitting. I gotta babysit you every time we play Mario.
That's true. Yeah.
I need a place, a relationship, and a color. That's how you do improv, right?
Well, sometimes, but see, so like in the we can keep this in the
No, we'll cut this.
like in the conservatory or in like the UCB method, like or like how Middleditch and Schwartz start their improv where they like interview an audience member
Yeah.
and then they just kind of draw facts. So instead of like
Totally.
specifically asking for the information, you'll kind of pull it out of the things that you were talking about, or that we have like elements of improv. We have like quarters, pizzeria. We have the high score. We have giving an award to yourself. Giving an award to your kid. All these different elements of what we've been talking about, and so you just kind of start pulling from that.
All right.
To create the improv scene.
Easy. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll start the recording. What, like here?
We could keep this all in. It's kind of it's cool to like look behind the curtain too. We've already established that this episode is totally meta. Anyway,
it's meta enough for us to regard that it's meta. So
yeah.
You know what's weird is when people get really meta on Reddit.
Yeah.
You're not on Reddit, are you?
Not at all.
You're a little a little Twitter liberal. You're like, oh, Bluebird app, give me likes. Ooh.
Yeah.
You know,
No, you know what would be super meta is if we started doing an improv scene where like it was a father and a son.
that, yeah, I think that would be too.
That would be like a little too meta.
Well, because it's
like
the
an
relationship
improv-
we already have.
Right. Or like an improv scene about, a father and a son recording a podcast together.
It was always a scene.
What?
It's a Christopher Nolan movie. It was always an improv scene.
Oh, I don't
We're at UCB right now. It's an audience. They're watching us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are just so immersed in the improv. We can feel our surroundings. I'm picking up stuff. I'm picking up a delicious cold bottle of Coca-Cola. Setting the delicious bottle of cold, refreshing Coca-Cola back on the desk. That isn't even there because we are doing a bit.
Yeah, this is
It's
a
all a
scene.
bit.
We are at UCB Franklin right now performing a scene about a father and a son recording a podcast.
We are stuck in the Matrix. We got into the Matrix to perform a scene and we are stuck. Pull us out, Neo. Pull us out, Neo.
Can we just talk about HelloFresh?
Oh my God, HelloFresh
Let's
is the
talk
best.
about let's just talk about HelloFresh for a second.
HelloFresh, can you please sponsor us? You
Yeah.
guys like actually rule.
I think they should
Oh
actually
my God,
sponsor.
yeah.
I think they should actually sponsor the show.
Yeah. I mean, you're getting like 8 impressions a week. That's like a potential like 2 or 3 customers for you. That's
Yeah,
definitely worth a brand deal.
it's definitely worth a deal.
Do you have sponsors or like can I?
No,
can I-
they're all fake.
Okay, yeah. You don't have sponsors?
No,
Okay, cool.
none at
So-
all. I mean, I have like I'll probably have another podcast advertised on this, but
Okay.
I don't know if anyone wants to be tarnished by being associated with me.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say if you don't have sponsors, then I can say
Say whatever you
just
want.
about whatever I want.
Yeah, if we get sponsors, we can go back and we can like beep a bunch of stuff out, like cut it down. I have no idea.
This episode's gonna be like 3 or 4 minutes long.
But but in all seriousness, like
Okay,
we did go with HelloFresh because from watching it with Drew Gooden and with
Danny Gonzalez, yeah, all those guys.
and so we tried it this week because
Oh
we're
my
like,
God, and it's like so good.
it is really good.
It's like high quality. We're doing a ad for them.
No, but I do seriously actually enjoy it, and we got to cook together. It was really fun.
Yeah, no, it was.
No, I had fun. Like,
It's pre-packaged and pre-measured, so you don't have to worry about those pesky measuring.
I know, and like,
Actually, being someone with potential dysgraphia, it's like so easy, like not having to measure stuff,
yeah,
because it's like put 1 packet of mayo into the sauce.
yeah.
You're like, okay,
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, it's fun for me because I could be your prep chef and kind of like your Sue, and we can talk, and it's fun. Whereas, like, in this freaking pandemic, like,
there's not much else to do.
well, yeah, there's not much else to do. Number one. Number two, like, getting groceries is like a major pain,
Oh my
and even
God.
thinking about planning things. And I like completely have exhausted everything I know how to cook.
I feel like the point of the pandemic where it's like feels the scariest is the grocery store. Because if you go to the mall and stuff, like people won't be wearing masks. They'll be like, doing whatever. The grocery store, like everyone's got like gloves and masks. It's scary.
It's seriously intense. It's seriously intense. And it's like, but I mean, I think it's been good. And actually as a parent, like thinking about you going off to college and stuff, like when I'm cooking the stuff with him, I'm like, this actually could be helping him. Like when you have to cook stuff on your own, you'll have more experience of trying different recipes and be like, yeah, I know how to make roast potatoes or, whatever.
Yeah.
Not that you will, but you'll know how if you want to. Or if you
Or
want
I
to
could just get HelloFresh in college.
That's true. You could. Yeah, that's very, very true. All right. Well, you know what?
College.
I kind of feel like what?
No, go ahead. What were you
No,
gonna
no.
say?
I was gonna move to part
Oh.
3, but if we're here, we'll stay here.
I mean, speaking of college
Yeah.
and eating,
Mhm.
those college cafeterias are such a scam. They're like, do you want to eat shitty hamburgers for $300 a year or whatever?
Yeah.
It's more than that, I think. It's like what, $1,200 a year?
I don't
It's
know
got to
what
be
it
like
costs,
that much.
but it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was in college, I went with like if you lived in the dorms, you were required to have a meal plan. I guess because they didn't want you to starve. So there was like a
We
minimum.
don't have a kitchen in a dorm.
Right. You don't have a kitchen. You got a sink. And I had like a little refrigerator, like our soda fridge back there. So they had like different levels of plan. There's like a 10 meal a week plan, a 15 meal a week plan and the 19 meal a week plan. And you basically, there's like mealtime and you went 19 meals is all the meals.
Eating 19 meals a week. That's like,
19 meals. It's
21 is 3 a day. So
3 a day. So it's 2 on the weekends. It's brunch on Saturday, brunch on Sunday.
so they're like, okay, you can starve on the weekend. It's okay.
Well, no, I mean, brunch was like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. until 1 o'clock or whatever. So
That's, oh, okay.
and
so
like
you can-
college students tend to sleep in on the weekend,
right.
you know.
Because
So
you definitely have a real college degree and you definitely went to college.
yeah, wink, wink. Well, you could talk about Whittier College, and we could talk about Nixon if you want.
Oh, yeah.
That we could tie
Dirty
it into
President
school.
Nixon took us off of gold standard causing economic inflation.
Yes. It's all tied together, and then we can tie that into the time I saw Al Franken and at Whittier College.
Oh my God, you should tell that story. That's a weird story.
Okay, so I'll tell it for the podcast listeners. And when I was in college was 1993 through 97. Nixon died while I was in college. They actually had because I went to Whittier College, which, for those of you who don't know, is Richard Nixon's alma mater. And we had a speaker, and the speaker was Al Franken. This was before he became senator and then became disgraced. At the time, he was Stuart Smalley on Saturday Night Live. So we're like excited. We're like, oh, we're going to see Stuart Smalley. And then he just came in and just started like roasting Nixon. And basically we were here to see Stuart Smalley. Like, we don't even really like care or know about Nixon.
Well, Nixon had been more than 20 years prior to that.
I think
You
when
weren't
did Nixon
even
graduate?
alive. Oh, he went to Whittier like 70 years prior to that.
Yeah, because I was born in 1974, which was the year,
After Watergate.
Yeah, after Watergate.
So like you would have
No-
literally no context.
operating memory or no you're like
that would be like someone coming to speak at my school and doing like a half hour on like, I don't even know, like Bush.
yeah, no, it wouldn't even be. I mean, Bush would be like
No, it would be like someone doing 45 minutes on Monica Lewinsky at my high school.
yeah, I'd be like none of that shit's gonna land, right? People are like, I have no frame of reference for this.
People would be like, I've heard about this in stand up, right?
Like really old videotape stand
Yeah.
right. Yeah, so he basically like it's always good, when your jokes bomb, to like insult your audience, which is basically what he did.
Well, yeah, that's sort of a way to get the audience on your side, because if you this is a fun fact I learned, if you treat people like they'll actually like you more.
Oh, I know that's some good advice.
Yeah. No, it's one of the pieces my wonderful father gave to me, like stop and smell the roses. People who are stupider than you till they like you, things along that line.
Yeah, that's good fatherly advice, all right.
Yeah. I had a really good dad. He was an asshole, but I liked him. I don't know why.
Oh my God, you're killing me. You are
Not yet.
Listen, buddy, you're a contingent beneficiary on the life insurance policy. Okay, so you'd have to also take out mom. So, and I know you would never do that.
That's true.
Okay.
Did you finish telling the Al Franken story, or did we?
No, that was kind of
Yeah.
all there was to it. But we didn't finish talking about the cafeteria.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But basically, so I was like, yeah, I'm not signing up for 19 meals a week. First of all, I never go for breakfast. Breakfast was like 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm going to get out of bed, roll, and go straight to my first class. I'm not going to like go get cereal.
Yeah.
Or
Well, no,
had
I
stuff in
mean-
my room.
I think they were over anticipating the vigor of college students towards lukewarm, watery eggs.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I did have friends who like went there in the morning and like super nerds, but they'd go in the morning and have like a cup of coffee.
Yeah, those nerds who are my friends.
Yeah, and they would
be nerds in college, and I would bully them, but they were my friends.
Well, yeah, like who like gets, what I'm gonna do? I'm 19. I'm gonna get up and go have coffee and eggs before I go to my, world civilizations class. Like, no, that's just not real. But anyway, so I didn't do that, and then I worked at the cafeteria. Your golf instructor from Alhambra Country Club was my coworker at the Whittier College, the Campus Inn. We were coworkers. We worked brunch shifts together, operating the waffle makers. Things like we became the student managers. It's true.
My grandfather works at the same golf course that Peter does currently, and I have a bit of insider information. I know a lot of the older gentlemen who
Yeah.
frequent that. That sounds creepier than I meant it. My grandpa goes there a lot and he works there. So apparently, your friend who you worked with in college, who will remain nameless.
Well, we said his name was Peter. That was
We'll
established.
bleep it out in the edit.
Okay.
But basically, he was stealing shifts from other people at the golf course because the guy who owned it was like looking at retirement because he didn't really want to own the golf course anymore. So Peter was stealing shifts so that the guy would make him the owner. So he was like telling these like 70, 80-year-old people like, oh no, don't come into work tomorrow. And then he was acting like he was covering for them when in reality he was like stealing their shifts so
Wow.
that he could own the golf course.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or that's at least my understanding of the situation. I might be wrong.
yeah.
But there was some shady things going on at the golf course.
It's
A
well,
public golf course.
Just so you don't get sued for defamation.
Yeah.
Just so you don't get sued for defamation. Let's just put some wiggle words in there. It's my understanding. I've heard it on good information. It's my opinion, etc.
Yeah. No. That's what I've heard through
It's
the
a rumor.
grapevine. May or may not be true.
Yeah. Also, he's not a public figure, so we'd have to show they'd have to show higher level of malice.
But we're gonna bleep his name anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, stealing shifts at a golf course.
A
That
municipal golf course,
I
not
mean-
even a country
I
club.
mean, how do you own a municipal golf course?
Or it's not a municipal golf course, but it's not a country
No, it's a
club.
municipal golf
It
course.
is?
Yeah, but maybe there's like a.
Or he
we need to
ran
do
it.
some
Whatever.
investigate. Should we do some? Oh, like become like the pro shop. Maybe the pro shop. Is
Anyway, the guy
privately owned.
who he had the record there, and I think that he got it. Not our friend who was stealing shifts. The guy who owned it before he retired. We can say his name. His name was Jerry. He had the record, and then he started working there, and they were like, "You have the record. You're in charge now, I think," or something like that happened.
Oh my God.
It's like a barbaric thing. You hit golf ball this time, you golf man, or whatever they call people who work at a golf course.
Yeah. It's sort of like just to like fold things all together. You know, we started out talking about the record in Donkey Kong and the tape, and then he becomes the owner of the leaderboard, right? And the lawsuit for debt. You see how it like all connects?
Well, I mean, the only thing keeping us from apes is law. The only difference between monkey and man is that man has the ability to self-govern. That's why we govern the monkeys.
In a world where man seeks to lord himself over the apes, one man is separated from the apes by words we call laws. One man.
That worked out really well.
Yeah,
I
was
feel
good.
like that was I kind of set you up for that.
You did set me up for that. That's actually the trailer to the first episode. Do you remember that? I played that for you?
I don't know.
They are called speaking. They are speaking apes.
Something like that.
Sometimes I wish like monkeys like had the brain of humans. So like you would just go to like I don't know, you just like be driving, there'd just be like a orangutan next to you. You're like, oh yeah, that's normal. I mean, because there's what is there separating us from monkeys? Like really, like a couple of years of evolution. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's very clear chimps and humans both shared a common ancestor.
Yeah.
We look very similar. So what like separates us?
I don't
Like
know.
they're still like climbing trees and shit, and what are humans doing? What are humans doing up to these days? What are they up to?
Global warming.
Mr. NPR, gloom and doom.
All right. So the third part I always do is the laying down the pretense. I ask you real questions. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to answer them if you don't want to, but they're like sort of be like deep questions. Okay.
I kind of hijacked the whole bit where we do improv.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
If I could have one superpower?
Mhm.
Okay. That's hard. Because if you had super speed, you could just do shit really fast and then spend time on the things you like. And Also, you could be like famous for being fast. But if you were strong, I feel like it would be really cool to just like be able to like punch something and for it to just break. You know? I don't know, that's hard. I feel like that's a question like everyone gets asked at like every seminar or like, you know, that sort of, or like an icebreaker for school. You know, but
Okay.
I think I would go with super speed.
Super speed? Yeah. Okay. How about this? If you could live in one place anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Anywhere?
Yeah. I think it's the
Um,
question is designed so you can't say like I'd travel all the time, you know. If you could one place.
I would live in Jeff Bezos's house in his bed, and every day when he gets up, I'd be like, "Hi, Jeff. Good morning. Is your money corrupting your soul yet, Jeffy? Good morning." And he'd be like, "Oh," crying because he's all alone, and the only person he has left is like a little gremlin who lays in his bed. Because I mean, okay,
So
if you have that big of a house, how long do you think I could like realistically live in Jeff Bezos' house without him knowing? Because that dude has like huge, like gigantic homes.
I mean, I'm guessing he probably has security.
Okay, next question. Anyway,
If you could change anything in the world, what would it be and why?
if I could change anything,
Mhm.
I would make billionaires redistribute their wealth.
Okay. Why?
They don't need all that money.
Next question. Yeah. I mean, that's
No,
pretty-
if you made
right
like,
on point.
if you made like 300 grand a month since America was founded, I don't think you would have as much as Elon Musk,
Yeah.
new richest man in the world. Actually, I want to change my answer from earlier. I don't want to live in Jeff Bezos's bed. I want to live in Elon Musk's bed,
Okay.
and be like, Elon, your puppy owned an apartheid emerald mine. Elon, you're the bad guy. Come give me good morning kisses, Elon.
I mean, like, look, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are plausible supervillains, both of them.
Oh my god! In the video of Jeff Bezos with the robot glove,
Yeah.
he starts laughing. He's like,
Well, and like
It's
just
so
like
freaky.
giving your children bizarre names and like
Yeah. Oh yeah,
and then like the bald thing with Jeff Bezos having like the bald head and like the very distinctive laugh. It's like they're like
they're
90% of the way towards being
Yeah.
supervillains.
they're trying to put like drones in the sky. They're putting their cars in space.
Yeah, exactly. I mean that's
That's-
all supervillain shit.
I mean not Elon Musk. The bad guy from Iron Man 2 was literally based on Elon Musk.
No way.
Yeah. What's his name? Justin. You know the guy? Sam Rockwell.
Uh-huh.
Justin.
Okay.
His character's name is Justin, I think.
Okay.
His character was like totally based on Elon Musk, and he's like Tony Stark, but not as smart.
Okay. Who is the most inspirational person you've ever met in person?
In person?
Yes, in person.
Well, I meet Jesus every day when I pray, and he's mighty inspirational.
Come on.
What?
Seriously. Come on.
You haven't encountered Jesus in your life?
I have
Are you-
every day when I pray, but I'm talking about for real.
So Jesus isn't real, Dad?
No, a human being. Come on.
Jesus was fully human.
Stop messing with me.
I'm not.
Okay. No. Come on. Think. Do this. Do it. Come on.
I'm
You don't have
doing it.
You don't have to if you don't want to. But
I'm doing it. I said my answer is Jesus.
okay. Second most
Second most.
after Jesus.
The Holy Spirit,
I
of
knew you were
course.
gonna say that, you jerk. I knew you were gonna say that. Oh my god. You're gonna work your way through the Trinity and then be like
Yeah.
Saint Ignatius of Loyola. You're just gonna keep messing. All right, fine. I'm not.
No,
gonna,
I haven't met
give up.
St. Ignatius of Loyola. He's been dead for like 200 years, Dad. Don't be
Okay.
ridiculous.
All right. Okay. Let's assume there are some parents listening to the podcast. What's one piece of advice you'd give to parents, or to me?
Well, if it's to you specifically, give me money. That's always good. That's good advice for anyone. Take that advice. Give me Spencer money.
Okay.
I think that's a great bit of advice.
Okay.
Okay, no, serious answer. Let your kid be free. Like, the more you try and make your kid a person through like rules or like, you know, saying, oh, you can't do that, like the further it just pushes them away from you. So the more stuff you let your kid do and try, the closer it brings you to them. You know, if your kid's like quiet, don't force them to be loud. If your kid's loud, don't force them to be quiet. You know, if you're unless your kid's like committing crimes or your kid's like on like Nazi subreddits, but anything other than that, like, really, it's just let your kid be who they are.
Okay. Do you think we do that?
Yeah. Oh God, that you guys are so good at that.
Okay, thanks. That means a lot.
Don't cry. It's a comedy podcast.
All right. No, this is the part where we... Oh,
This dude
man.
cries every day.
I do.
No,
That's true.
but in a
during,
good way.
during the pandemic.
In a very manly way, he cries. He cries when he's overcome with emotion.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
It's kind of funny because I have to take care of him like he's a baby. I'm like, oh, it's okay, Dad.
Yeah. Well, I love you a lot. Okay, sorry. So Mom always asks us to name things that we're grateful for. What would you say that is today?
Man, I'm grateful that I just have such beautiful feet. I love my feet so much.
Seriously.
I'm grateful for Jeff. Jeff is awesome. Thanks
He
for
is
editing
awesome.
this, Jeff.
He is awesome.
Everyone, tweet at Jeff. What's his Twitter handle?
At Verboten PM.
Tweet at Verboten PM. You're awesome.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. He's a good guy.
Oh, he is. I know.
And he's got his own podcast, For the Trees. What's the next big thing for you?
I'm going to complete a quick application, and then tonight I'm going to get on the phone with my friends and play Minecraft until my eyes hurt. That's what's next for me. Yeah.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Did you have any other
Laying Down the Law is a product of Beyond Unreasonable Doubt. It's produced by Jeffrey Feitner and Verboten Productions. Music, Galactic Damages by Jingle Punks. Cover art courtesy of The Mighty Q. I want to thank all of our listeners. Shout out to our listeners overseas in Austria, the Russian Federation, Finland, India, and Australia. If you're enjoying the show, please tell a friend and subscribe, write a review, and leave us a rating. 5 stars, please. It really helps us reach more listeners just like you. Please feel free to tweet at Max Headroom ESQ. That is a reference to something that I'm too young for. With any questions, comments, or suggestions, I'm your host, Billy D. Clerk, aka Max Headroom Esquire, and I am an 8th grade mischief in a grown-up container. Huh?
That's like I have like a little tagline I do in Essence at the end.
Oh, okay.
All
All right, love you.
That's
Bye.
our show. Bye.
Big kisses, big kisses. Hugs in a second. Okay, we're doing a podcast. Wow, you have viewers in Australia?
Yes.
Who?
I don't know.
That's awesome, though. If you're foreign, in the comments type "I am not American" with 4 exclamation marks, and then follow that with your country of origin, your credit card number, your full name, the 3 magic numbers on the back, and the expiration date.
What are you doing? Okay.
What?
Can we finish the credits, please?
I'm trying to get feedback from your international viewers.
I understand. And
This
you're
is how
trying
you
to steal
drive-
their... What?
Subscribe, like,